Hello, everyone. Welcome to our session for ExpressJS. It's a hands-on session for beginners. I have Maryana with me. For those of you who are joining us today for the first time, I'd like to introduce Women Who Code. Women Who Code is a global nonprofit organization that helps women engineers with two or more years of work experience, looking for support and resources to strengthen their influence and level up in their career. So we stand strong with a vision to build a world where women are representatives as technical executives, founders, VCs, board members, and software engineers. If you wish to volunteer with us or join a community, you can join our meetup group, or you can just sign up on our website, womanwhocode.com/Singapore. We have a lot of events like Interview Ready Series, TensorFlow Study Jam, and many, many more. So you can find these events on our meetup group. And we regularly have such interesting events if you want to get started into tech or just like want to level up or skill up. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our speaker for today. So Maryana is actually working at PayPal. She is a software engineer and she joined PayPal in 2021. She works in ExpressJS, React.js, and Java Spring Boot. Before PayPal, she did a coding internship with DBS as a mid-career switcher. And right now in free time, she enjoys reading, hanging out with friends, and solving some lead code problems. So Maryana, I'd like to hand over the stage to you. Please
Okay,
begin the session.
okay, thank you. Can you stop sharing? Okay, let me try. Yeah, thanks very much for coming. Yeah, I think this is just the dream session, right? There's only 5 of us. Yeah, so I cannot promise that I will stop if the question is lengthy, but if you have short one, probably you can just unmute yourself. Okay, yeah, and I may not have all the question, we can help each other. Okay, yeah, so if you want to follow along, please feel free to git clone, right? So this is, if you can see the repository here. So under the repository, you can see 2 main folders. One is the solution and the other one is the workshop, right? So the ExpressJS can be organized in multiple ways. The simplest is one file, right? So we only have one file throughout this workshop. We call it an index.js, right? So I'll try to code along in the workshop folder. And if let's say I am lost or any of you is lost or not typing fast enough, you can just look at the solution folder and try to copy from it. Yeah. So if you want to, as you follow along, right? After you git clone, and then you can go to the workshop folder. You can do an npm install if you haven't done so. So this assume that you have already had the Node.js installed in your machine. And then the purpose of doing the npm install is actually to get all the npm packages, right? So we have done it in the workshop. So in the workshop here, so this is the dependency list. We don't have many, and you can do the start the application by using the npm start. So we are using node-mon here, such that once you have saved the file, it will be auto. You don't need to stop and start the application again. Okay, yeah. So if you are not familiar, don't worry, just do npm start. And then another tip, right? For VS Code, it may not be auto save. So if you want to be an autosave, you can click file and then it's an autosave. Okay, yeah. So and then also there is this Postman collection. Right, it need to be imported into the Postman. Okay, but if you haven't done so, or don't worry, I will test it live with all of you. Okay, yeah. So maybe we can spend about 15 minutes to go through some basic I also post the link to the Google slide. Okay, so there's some basic about the what is Express. Okay, let me share the screen. No, to sure. Okay, yeah. So what is Express? Express is a very popular framework which actually help us to do two things very well. First, if we want to have the web application, Express has this minimal and flexible framework that provide a robust set of features to make the web and mobile application development easy. And then second one is actually to provide some HTTP utility so that you can build the backend endpoint easily, right? Just in a matter of maybe 1 minute, or yeah, to get started is very easy. So to start an ExpressJS is first you need to import the module, right? This is by saying that Express equal to require Express. So and then you can to create the application, you just simply call this top level function, which is Express. See, okay, sorry, I may sound very basic because this workshop is for the beginners, right? So in JS, you can call a function by saying the name of the function and open bracket, open and close parenthesis. Yeah. So this is when we call the Express, right? We have the application, which is app. So this app, right, basically we need to say the app.listen. You see the last paragraph, right? You will specify which port that the application is listening to. So let's say it's 3000. So it will bind and listen for connection on the specific specific port, and the host is your local host. Because in the development, your host is local, and then you can deploy it into Heroku or other services after you are done with development. Okay. This one, the middle, right, app.get. So this is basically the middle, we call it handler, or the middleware, right? This will be explained in the next slide. Okay. Yeah. So before that, maybe just some reminder of the HTTP, right? So HTTP is actually a protocol, right? Where all the web application, probably all, I can safely, or maybe most, this is how we actually the web application. So the client need to basically you the method is kind of mapping to the database action. So if you are familiar with SQL, right? Basically there is a CRUD method, CRUD, right? For each of them, there is a corresponding HTTP method. So you can don't worry about the detail. I also may not have all the answer. You just think of it. There is a GET request, POST request, put patch, and the delete. Okay. So what does it mean? So is always right. The client is, for example, it is the web application. For example, React.js app that lives in your browser, right? You can think of it as like a client, and then there might be some backend. For this workshop, it is built with ExpressJS. So this serves as the server or the backend, which is probably not in the browser, right? Maybe I have my own server in the AWS or Heroku or GCP, right? So for the GET request, normally you don't have the payload because the purpose of the GET request is to get the resources, right? The request does not have the payload, but the response have the payload. This is the resources that the client needs, right? And then just you can get familiar with this. If you see the URL, right? Let's say you're using some website. If you see the question mark, page size, and then page number, right? This one we call it a query parameter. Okay, so the query parameter is usually used. Oh, okay, sorry. Toshal, are you nobody asking question, right? Wait, let me see whether the chat.
Yes, I'll keep a check of the chats.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, yeah. Please make noise. Sometimes I'm worried. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Then the second type URL that you are seeing in the website, right? Is normally like this, like slash get like info /1, right? So this one we call it a URL or path parameter. Okay. So basically, this is one to specify the resource ID that you want to retrieve. So for example, right, if that the resource query the right, and then again they will respond with the payload. Yeah, just a note, this one, right, as a developer doing the backend, if let's say you pass the payload, right, normally there is an associated content type, right? So content type is for example, the payload has the coding, right? Encoding is just like for many of payload is JSON. You specify content type equal to application.json in our workshop. Okay, and then the third picture here, right? It is for the put patch or post. Yeah. So as you can see here, right, to create updated. Right? So since we want to resources from the client side, normally the client will give some information. So there goes the payload of the request, right? So if it has the payload, the request itself will have the so it tells the server that oh, I am sending you a payload of JSON. Okay, and then the response it's up to the server. It's up to the design whether we want to specify the payload. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And then so for the parts of our application, right, we are not going to write a client here. We are going to write the server, which is your first ExpressJS application. So we are going to do two things. Typical backend, right? The first one is connect with the database. In the real world, normally database is separated server, right? Because there's a lot of design consideration for our workshop. We actually have your database is saved inside the file, right? So if you look at this DB folder, and then you can see this .db, right? Basically, this is your DB. Right? Not going to have very complicated, okay? And then for our, since it is the same machine with your application, you are not going to use a HTTP to query the database, right? There will be just a connector. We are not going to write it. So there is already a package to do this. We are using the SQLite. Okay, now don't worry about it. Just remember that we are not calling another server for the DB. And then we are going to practice, right? You see, in the real application, there's always like multiple layers of server. Right? So your ExpressJS is one server. It may call another server. This server may call another server. Easily like 10 layers, or I mean, multiple layers of server. Okay. So we are going to practice how if your server is now becoming a HTTP client calling another server. Okay. So for this, I'm borrowing the DB from the SQLite tutorial. Right? So it is about some oldies song, like the song from the maybe I wasn't born yet, and none of us was born yet. So we have this mainly, right? There is a track is song, and then there is also this one wait a customer. Okay, so you can think of it, a customer may have some tracks that which are his or her favorite. Okay, and then I added the new table here to just specify that, right? Customer underscore track. It means you can imagine, right? For example, the customer ID is 1. For example, 1 for Maryana at example.com. Okay. Then let's say I have I like song track number 1, 2, 3. Right. So there will be Maryana, I like 1, Maryana, I like 2. And then for example, there is a Toshal, right? Like also like 1 and 2, right? So the relationship is like many to many. One user will like many track, and one track will be liked by many user. Okay, don't worry, it's just keep this in mind so that you know as we code along, you will know what we are trying to do. Okay. Okay, so back to the interesting Express, right? Remember there is a app.get, right? Basically, this is what Express Lingo says is routing. Okay, so what is a routing? It's very simple. You have an Express app and then you specify the method. That's why you saw is an Express dot this one. You saw this as an app.get, right? And then you can specify also another method, post and so on. And then it takes, open the bracket, right? The function takes in 2 parameters. The first parameter is actually the path. How the Express application will handle this path, right? If it sees this path, what is it going to return is by the handler, right? Handler is just a JavaScript function. So JavaScript function, you can think of it, it takes in an arguments, one or multiple, and then it will specify some logic and return the response. Okay, so this handler and middleware, right? If you go to ExpressJS interview, they will ask you what is a middleware, right? You can say that a middleware is actually is a handler. It's just the handler that is tasked to do something important, right? For example, there is a middleware for authorization. There is a middleware for what else? Encryption. Yeah. There can be 101 reason why you want to write a middleware, but middleware is basically a handler, is a function. Okay, so you can stack the middleware. This is the beauty of ExpressJS that makes it very simple to write and it's very powerful, right? You can stack the, let's say 1 to n middleware. How it works, right? So it works by first it will match the route as you specify in the path, and then middleware 1 is a function. It will inspect the request and check whether it will call the next function to go to the middleware number 2, or it will just reject it, right? When it rejected, the response will be returned immediately without reaching middleware number 2 and etc. Okay, and likewise for middleware 2 and at the end, right? At the end, you need to return the response already, right? And then okay, this is about the handler or middleware. Again, to reiterate, right? First, app dot the method HTTP method, get, post, put, delete. Okay, and then this is the URL, right? Slash means it's like your home. Anything also it will go to the home first if there is no other URL. Okay, later I can demo it. And then for the request, response, and next, right? Request is basically the request that the client send you, right? Response, you are going to return the response, and next is basically to go to the next middleware. Okay, and then remember the question mark, page number, and page size, right? Basically it is inside the request itself. The request object will have special field, which is the params, is to get the Oh, sorry. The page number and all, we call it this one, right? A query parameter. And it is inside this request.query. It's a special field. Okay. And then remember the /get info /1, right? I was saying one is like your resource ID, or let's say user ID like 123. Yeah. You need to get it from the request.params. It's also special, right? We call it a URL or path parameter. Okay. And then for the SQL, right, remember, right, you don't need to write your own because there is already an NPM package. You can actually just make use of this DB module, right? You can just say the db.get, right? This means you are getting it from the DB, the chinook.db, okay? You just need to remember there is the db.get to get one row inside the table. Okay. If you expect the result is multiple row, let's say you want to get all the tracks or songs, right? You have to use the db.all. Okay. Yeah. Oh no, this one is just some idea for your own study after this workshop. Okay, so without further ado, let's try about our workshop, about our coding. Okay, so I hope that you can see this index.js inside the workshop, right? Once you have done an npm I and npm start, you can see that the app is already started and there is no error, right? So let us try to have the hello world. Okay, remember, if you specify this, right, app.get / this is your home. Let us test, right? Okay, so you can see that there is no error, and this is the response code 200, and you managed to actually send this welcome to all this download. Okay, so just to make sure that just a sanity check, so you can say that welcome to Women Who Code Express. Yeah. So you see, you don't need to restart the application, then you can start again. You see, right? So once you have done this, actually pretty much you have your first ExpressJS server. Okay. But in reality, of course, it needs to be useful. So let us try to pretend that you are building some kind of Spotify, right? So let's try get all the tracks. Okay. So for these tracks, right, basically we have a lot of tracks already. Okay, maybe I can, before we proceed, let me give you a taste, right? This one, inside the solution, everything is ready. For here inside the workshop, I deleted many of endpoints, but this one except this one, okay? So there is this, I leave this out for an example. We want to have a get endpoint, right? What's the purpose of it? We want to know, let's say for track ID number 1, until, let's say, we have, I think, about 500 over tracks, right? What is the information, such as the artist name or the album name? Okay, so let us try this. So you can see that this one get tracks by tracks ID, right? So let's say track ID number 10, it is this one. The name is Evil Walks, right? So let's say it's number 100, right, Out of Exile, okay? And this is the artist name, okay? Yeah, so basically this DB, right? Usually it's very standard. There will be some GUI if you want to see the table, right? But for now we have it, this endpoint, so there's no need for you to download the GUI as a viewer, okay? Just follow along. So now that we have done this, right? Let us build another endpoint to get all the tracks. Okay. So for example, to get all the tracks, you open the Spotify, right? You want to browse it. So you have to easily give the user per page or 10. How it is done? Let's say we want to have this, right? tracks and then all. Right. You see here, right? Basically 404 is not found because I haven't written it. Okay, so now we are going to work on it. Okay, so how to get tracks.all? Remember what is the format? First, it is the URL, right? Your URL need to match exactly with what you communicated, right? If you work in the company, you need to give this to the front-end engineer, right? Who are building the client. So let's say you agree on tracks.all. Let us begin. So we have to provide the handler. Remember, it's always request, response, and next, right? The handler is nothing but the JS function. So you have to open this one, curly bracket open and curly bracket close. Okay, and then I have already written all the SQL that we need. Let us see what SQL is available. Maybe we can use this get all tracks. Okay, if you are familiar with SQL, you will know that this statement, we will need to inject the value of it, right? The question mark. How many of it? There are two of it, which is the limit and an offset. So to query DB, you can use db.all. db.all takes 2 actually, right? Then this follows what is following here is inside the square bracket. What are we going to inject into it, right? So there is a limit and an offset. Remember for the limit, right? Limit is page size. Don't you agree? Page size, we will get it inside this query parameter. And then it is actually obtained from the request. Right? The request has special field, name request.query, and then page limit, right? Limit is page size. And then there is an offset, right? Do you know if let's say an offset, right? If let's say there is a page size of 10 tracks per page, right? So to calculate offset is basically your page number minus 1, right? Multiply by the page size. So it reads like this. If you want a page number 1, right? 1 minus 1 is 0. The offset is 0. Okay. So okay, we are done with this. And then this db.all, right? Oh, by the way, if you want this, right, you can actually SQLite, right? You can read more about this. So I got to know how to use this just by reading only, right? So as a software developer, you can always you must, right, read the documentation and see how it we need to make use of the function. Okay, so it will the db.all will take in 3 parameters. This is the SQL query, and then the value to query, and the last one will be a callback function. Okay, so the callback function will be error and the result. If it is an error, there is a error handler in this application. I have already written it for us. Okay, so if you scroll at the very end, right, this is your error handler only. Okay, so if there is an error, your application will return the client with 500. Okay, please remember 500 is very widely used. It is the internal server error. Okay, so by specifying this, right, Express is very smart to actually, you can think of it, right, the middle the layers of middleware, the last one being in error handler. Okay, you just need to pass an error object here into the next function, and it will actually reach the error handler. Okay, so if not, if it is an error, return an error, else, right? You can go carry on. So how to return the result? Okay, so you can say the result, right, is this one only. So this is the second argument in your handler. Okay, response. You can say res status 200. Status 200 in the software means okay, right? And then you can say it's a JSON, it is result. Okay, so why you need to do this JSON, right? JSON means Express will actually serialize your JavaScript object into the JSON. Okay, so this result, it is nothing but JavaScript object. You need to return a JSON. That's why you say .json. Okay, so let us test it. Let us test it. Oh, sorry. I have done it in the wrong endpoint. So I will need to, here, it will be here only. Okay, so let me. So tracks.all is done. Let us see. Oh, see, something broke, right? It means ours is done. So what is the error here? Data mismatch. Oh, it's a none. You see, the second one, right? This one, okay, I missed this one. One more is the reg query. Okay. So let us test it again. I see. It means, right, for the page size of 10, you will get 10 tracks. Okay. So the page number 1, the title is for those about to rock. Okay. So let's say you are building a web page, right? Spotify, right? User, let's say, click on next button. Then let's say you want page number 2, you can send. Okay, the first one title is COD by the ACDC. Okay, you can do it until let's say page number 100, no problem. Right. The title name is Best of You. Okay, yeah. So as you can see this, right? What happened if you forget the client, right? Your colleague forget to give you the page number and page size. As you can imagine, right, Spotify will have 1 million songs. So it's impossible for you to return everything, right? But if you don't prevent it, right, it will be okay. This one is because you have not catch this, right? But in reality, it's not practical to let the endpoint return 1 million song, right? So you have to make this compulsory. Okay, let's say it's the requirement to make the page size and query compulsory, right? So how you do it? You can make use of an endpoint middleware. Okay, so let's say remember, middleware is nothing but JavaScript function, right? I have written this middleware. It says the required pagination. It is saying, right, get the request, respond, and next. If there is a page number and page size, that's fine. Go to the next middleware. Otherwise, please return 400. It says that 400 is actually a bad request, right? So if you get 400, the onus is on client to get to do something about it. Okay, you just, and then it's good to return some error message. For example, this endpoint accepting page number. Okay, so do you remember we can stack a middleware? Let's say you want to make use of this middleware. Basically, in Express, to make layers of middleware, you just need to specify them one after another, and don't forget the order matters. Okay, so for example, you want the required pagination in the before the main handler, right? So let us test it. Let's say I have removed the page size and page number, right? You see, 400 bad requests, right? So as you can see, it is very easy to share the middleware with multiple endpoints. This can be tracks and all, right? Tomorrow there might be another requirement, say give me all the playlist, right? Same scenario. You need the page size and page number. You can always make use of this middleware. Okay. In reality, also you need to write a unit test, right? A function can always be tested. But it's an out of scope in the workshop. Okay. And then let's move on. Let's say you want to have this, right? Get tracks lyrics by the track ID. Okay. Maybe I can do one more for the simple one, because this one is basically your Express application as a HTTP client and calling another server. Okay. I think let's leave it for the last 10 minutes. Okay. We can take another time to, let's say, do the patch. Okay. So what happen if you want to patch this one, you want to patch, right? Patch means you want to change the information. For example, you are an admin, then let's say you are selling the tracks, right? Let's say there is a price increase. Okay, so if let's say here, right, you see for the tracks number 100, the unit price is 0.99. Okay, let's say tomorrow you want to make it $10. Okay, let's work on it. So if you have the patch, right? Okay, so this update the dash price, right? We'll accept this. We are working on it post patch this one, right? So you see, if it is a patch, right, you can give some payload in the request. Let's say you want to update it to $10. Okay, and then you want to update song number 100. This one, right? Okay, song number 100 just now. Okay, so you want to make it from 0.99, remember, into $10. Okay, let's work on it. So what you need to do first, you need to update the database, right? Let us see which endpoint, which SQL query we can use of it. Okay. So first you can update it by update track price. You see this one? Okay. So again, you will update that update price. Yeah. Okay. So there is this one. This is a handler, right? It's a JavaScript function. So you can say that db dot execute. Wait, let me check what's this one. Update price. Yeah, db.run. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so there is a db.run. db.run means, right, you are expecting the SQLite to run this. Okay, not getting anything. Okay, so you follow by the SQL query, and then as you can see here, right, it expect two value to be injected. First is the unit price and then the track ID. Okay, so for the track ID and the unit price, right? For the track ID, right? For the new price, right? It will be inside the request body, isn't it? Right? This is 10, right? So you can say like this: request the body dot new price. Okay. The second one will be the track ID. Remember, for the track ID, this is inside the URL parameter, right? Then you can say by the request dot query, and then request the params, because this is a URL parameter. Okay, and then this will be the track ID. Okay, and then it will also accept the callback. Okay, there is an error. Okay, I think it only accept the error. Okay, if it is an error, let the error handler do it by return next pass the error object. If there is no error, basically you have updated it, right? You can say it is response just result status 200, and then you can send it. Send means, right, end of the call, end of the request. Okay, let's see whether it works. So let's say here You see it's 200, right? So let us query the track number 100 that we have already changed. See whether the unit price has been changed. Okay, just to test whether we are good with it. So it used to be 0.99. Okay, you see, we have actually update the price, right? Now it's $10. Okay, so likewise, right, a lot of requirement may come to you as a software developer, and you just need to do the requirement, right, which is very easy in the Express. Okay, so now let's try you can complete this, right? There are many endpoints. For example, right, let's say you as a customer, you want to get the favorite track. Okay, so okay, let's do this. Okay, let's do this. So let's say, right, you want to get favorite will give you the favorite tracks and favorite playlist. And let's say you there is also another endpoint, get favorite tracks. You want to actually give the favorite tracks of the customer. Okay, so you can see here, right, you can we can try to complete this. Okay, so how to get this? Basically, this is another handler, right? Request, response, and next. You can say that db.all, you want to obtain everything, right? It will accept first is the SQL query. This one we can make use of this get favorite tracks by customer ID. This one. It will accept one value, which is the customer ID. So you can say db.all followed by request params track ID. It is customer ID. If follow error or result. If it is a result, if it is an error, return next error. Otherwise, this is the result, right? So let's say for this purpose, remember, let's say, right, result have this result. Okay, we want to construct the response, right? So for example, the response have this structure. Right. So you can think of it, we want to construct this. So there is a result from the DB. What you should do, first you should construct it, right? On response, right? This response already have the result. Okay. So you can do the like this. Okay. So first you don't want to change the previous result, because it may be from another handler. Okay, so you can use this spread in the JavaScript, and then you can say result, and then you want to append your playlist, your tracks. Okay, because this one is get favorite tracks by customer ID. Tracks equal to result. Okay, and then once you have this rest, right, you can actually send it already. So you can say that res.json is rest, right? So it is saying, right, I have this JavaScript object, please return it to the client. Okay, let us test it. Get favorite tracks by customer ID. Oh, wait, there is
the second argument inside the second argument inside line 1 with the result.
Second argument in the line number what?
81, the and then comma result. Because when I refer to the solutions, it says text, but I don't understand how come in this case is result.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me give that's a very good question. Okay. Basically, right. It can be called anything. You know why this one always requires response and next, right? If let's say you don't call it by anything, right, it is still doable, right? It's just by convention, right? This one, and then for this one is a good for this one, right, it's really up to you to name it. Yeah. So you see, let's remove it to become a tracks, right? Yeah. So if it is a tracks, right,
Yeah.
you can put is a tracks, right? And then this is a tracks. So okay, let's see this one, right? And then tracks dot result, and then this tracks, and then you can say that yeah, and then you can say that tracks is equal to tracks. Okay, yeah. So and then you can say this is the tracks, right? This is the tracks. We want to change return everything. So it's like tracks here. Okay, so let's see whether it works now. Right? Okay. It says constant tracks has already been declared. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's why. You see, right? Because tracks in the function, right? The scope is always whatever between the curly bracket. Okay. So in here, there is already a tracks, right? If I just say this is tracks again, is wrong. So I can say that something like something.
Sorry.
Hello?
Yeah. Does it override the, like, because you use, like, you assign the similar variable, right? So does it override I mean, when you use back the same variable again, does it like override the local variable itself?
Yeah, that's a good question, right? Basically, if you want to override, you can, but you cannot do this constant. Okay, so let's say right, you want to override this, right? It may be possible, but then you see, right? Yeah, I think let's try it. Tracks dot result tracks and then equal to tracks. But this one is the okay. This is should be the request response dot result. This is should be yeah correct. This one is the tracks is equal to tracks equal to tracks. Okay, let's see whether this one can or not. Something is not defined. Okay, I have to return the tracks. See, it works. You see, so it will really override. You see, so if you see, if I say it's a const something, right? Basically, I am introducing a new variable. So JavaScript will JavaScript will not complain if I don't have the const, right? So let's try, right? In the JavaScript, basically there are how many? There are many. There is a const, and you can say it's a far, right? Or you can say it's a okay lah. Far is from the old times, right? You can just remember there is a const and let to actually introduce another variable. Okay, so for us here, right, if you don't write any of the const and let, right, you can actually override your tracks here. Okay, so let's say you want to override it, then you can just get rid of it, and then you can specify it. Okay, tracks. So basically the tracks now will have this result as a field, and then it will have the this one, right, object, and then this object have the playlist and tracks. Okay, as you can see here, the tracks here, and then this is array. Okay, yeah. So I am also not a very JavaScript queen, right? I really recommend you of this. Oh, I don't write it here. I can send this inside your I will send the JavaScript course that I did in the Udemy, in the Code Academy. It is very good. Yeah, maybe just give me 1 minute. I am trying to get it.
Sorry, for the code, like the Code Academy, right?
Hmm.
Is it like when like they go through like topic by topic, and then they have like a exercise after each, like a tutorial after each topic that they go through?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true only. Like, okay, never mind. Let me open the Slack. I think I have it ready in the Slack. Meanwhile, let's just continue. Okay, I have it.
Maryana, there is a question in the chat.
Yeah. What's the question?
So Huimin is asking, why is it res.result in the above get favorite playlists?
Why it is the res.result in the, oh, I see. Yeah, I can answer that. Okay, so basically, right? Tracks. Oh, I see. Yeah. So this is just the result. Oh, okay. It's basically, right, it is the how you basically coordinate between middleware. Okay, so you can think of it like this. This is get tracks by customer ID, right? Basically there is a response, right? So this response is passed between one middleware to the other middleware. For this, I already know the previous middleware actually passing me this result inside the response, right? So in here, right, it's basically the same thing, right? Res.result, basically, right, I want to say that the response, right, I want to have is basically is like this. This response, I want to make this field result. That's why I say this is the rest of result, and then all this. Right? So to make it clear, that's interesting. Okay, tracks. Result. Result. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it should be result here, right? Okay, let's look at the solution. Yeah. So this is .res.result, right? Basically, I want the response here to have the result field, and then this result field having the playlist. Okay, and then for this one also, I want it to be inside the result also. Okay, so let's make it the same. So in here, right, res.result. Okay, so let's make it the same. So in here, res.result. Okay, let's say res.result equal to here, right? And then this one, right? So let's say we want to just response .json, and then we want to query the result, right? Response. Okay. So let's see this one. Okay, wait. Stringify the value. Oh, okay. What did I write here? Okay. Yeah, basically, right. I want this to work with this endpoint. Okay, let me my live coding screw up. Okay, let me just explain to you in my solution. Okay, yeah. So what happened is like this. First, I have written this get favorite playlist by customer ID, right? This one, for this endpoint get favorite, I want to return two types, favorite playlist and the favorite tracks. Okay, that's why. And then I also want another endpoint. I don't want playlist, I just want tracks. Okay, and then basically the teaching is about I want to make use of this and middleware inside the two endpoint. Okay, so you see in here, right, in the favorite tracks, right, basically I have already say that there is a response, just return the response.result. Okay, so the purpose of doing this is the intention is like this. Response. Let me put this. Okay, in here. So the intention is response will have the result will have playlist and tracks. Okay, and then by doing this, right, it is a standardized, right, I can actually make use of the tracks customer ID, right? So the tracks customer ID, maybe I should have done like this, right? It says like what? This response, right? You can imagine there are layers of and middleware. It will first go to this middleware and go to this middleware. So basically the response from the first one will be passed to the second one as also response. Okay. So the tracks by customer ID will have the access to the response that the previous middleware has already passed. So the previous middleware has already this result field. Okay, so my job here is to spread the result and then append the tracks into the result. Okay, and then I will call the next endpoint, right? So you can think of it, this is the first endpoint, the second endpoint, and the last endpoint is basically just to send it. Okay, so you can think of it as yes, this is what I'm trying to do. Hui Min, is this making it a bit clearer or not? Hello. Yeah, okay, yeah. So basically, right, it is based on what you write in the inside this. Okay, so just think of it. If you have multiple middleware, is the response actually you will pass it into the next middleware. Okay, no time, right? I will just instead of coding, or maybe 1 minute, I try to let you know what I'm doing here. It's very important. How if your server is trying to call another server? Okay, so let's say you have this, right? You have this external, right? Let's say you want to provide the lyrics in the Spotify, right? Then this one is just because this public API is not authenticated. Anyone can call it. So basically, I just want to tell you, your service, right, may call another service in the company. So you want to get these lyrics, right? You can make use of this Asios, right? Please go and Google this Asios. Basically, if you have this, right, you don't need to write all the boilerplate to have the HTTP client inside your application. Okay, so this is HTTP client. Your server become client. You specify what is the endpoint that you're going to call, and then as the client, you need to specify what is the, you see the parameter, right? It expect artist and song, right? And then for the response, right? Don't worry about this. Basically, what it is saying is you have a JavaScript object, and then this JavaScript object, right, will have the get lyrics result field, and then have the lyric and the text, right? Then you want to return it. You want to return it inside here. Okay, let's test it. Maybe I can kill this. I can go to solution. Then I can go npm start. Okay. So let's say you want to get lyric by track ID, right? Let's say you want this, right? See, right? So it means, right, for this artist AC/DC, for those about to rock. So this one, you see, is correct. So let's say you don't like track number 1, you want to track number 2. Okay, balls to the walls. Okay lah, I think it sounds correct. Okay, yeah, basically this is just a demonstration how you can be a client itself. Okay, yeah, I think now times is up. Any final question? Okay, yeah, okay, then
Please
Toshal, I
feel
think we can
free.
end it here. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, please.
Please feel free to unmute yourself and ask any questions to Maryana if you want.
Yeah. Okay, going once, going twice. Okay, there's no right. Yeah, maybe, right. Let's say you want to debug, right? Maybe you can email me, right? Maybe since this is a small group, right? If you have a question, we can I will reply your email. Okay.
Oh yeah, I suddenly thought of the question.
Yeah,
Sorry.
what?
Because I was learning Ruby on Rails, but then like it's like because in Ruby we have a binding.pry to like debug which line of code is like having the bug. So like in ExpressJS, is there like something similar to like the binding.pry?
Oh, is it like a package? How to debug this? So
Because before I run binding.pry, I need to refer to the library that enables me to run that particular line of code, so that when I try to rake my code, and then I will be able to see which line of code there's like syntax error, or like there's like no method errors and stuff like that.
oh, I see. Not that I know of, unfortunately. But then, right, isn't just now, I haven't done Ruby, right? So I don't
Oh.
really know how nice it is. But normally how I debug is just now, right? I
Yeah.
just look at this. I just look at the this one, right? What it is and try to understand from it. Yeah. I don't really know. Maybe I can do a search. Can you type? What's the tool or package name? Maybe I can search what it is and see whether there is a equivalent. Can you
Okay.
type in the chat? Require, oh, businessman. But not right.
As in require the particular library itself within Ruby, and then binding dot pry is where you insert that line into the particular area of code that you want to check your output.
Mm. Okay. Oh, okay. How to run for JavaScript? For JavaScript console to debug, JavaScript is the debugger key.
Oh, that debugger. Okay, I saw on stack.
Oh, is there private for JavaScript? Yeah, I think you can. There is a debugger. I also, but then I am guilty of not using it. So let's see what's the debugger in JS. Yeah, basically, I think, right, if I'm not wrong, debugger is an object.
Mhm.
Okay, JavaScript debugger. Oh, it's not even console.log. Oh, it's not, you are not referring to console.log, are you?
No, I'm not referring to that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's the equivalent of it. What is the debugging in JS? String for yeah. Just curious, right? Ruby, isn't it front end or back end?
Ruby is back end.
Oh, okay. See,
And
I don't know.
Ruby along with Rails itself, the entire thing is back end. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, debugger. No, I don't know about it. Yeah, maybe I go and search. I don't know about it. Maybe you can ask other people. Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah. Okay, thank you. VS Code. Oh, okay. There is a VS Code debugger, but yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Who else? Okay, I think Tosha or nobody. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for joining today and for your questions.
Yeah.
I would like to share a feedback form for today's session. So just sharing it in the chat. Please feel free to add your feedback for us.